Substitute. So Embley hadn't entered the field prior to that substitute being able to be changed. So Mackenzie can come back onto the ground if they need him. He's injured a left hamstring, but he can come back onto the field.
Handball receives. Fremantle have had 20 more than West Coast Eagles. Daniel Pearce has had 9.
So Derby 37 into its last quarter. And West Coast have to call on all their reserves and all their skill to try and get back. At least made a contest of the centre bounce, something they haven't been able to do for much of the game. And they get the clearance. Prittis out wide, Marston the target. He beats Spur to the punch, but Spur was there to make sure that he was going no further.
That really is. He's come from 40 metres away. He wanted the tackle. There's a difference between wanting the tackle, laying the tackle and sticking the tackle. He did all three.
Cox had it to himself, down to Selwood, who paddled further. Hearn. Barlow. Four-goal margin, 11-10 to 7-10.
Be interesting to see how Coxie goes here. Yeah, well done again, Griffin.
Playing with an extra man behind the ball. West Coast seem to have theirs at the contest at the moment. That's to their advantage with Selwood getting it forward. Hill casually comes out, shows his skill, takes the grab. He had a man deep calling for it. Kennedy trying hard, busting a gut to get there. It squirts out for Gaff. He's on the right side to hook one back to the square, but Fremantle were well and truly onto it. Main covering plenty of territory.
He positioned himself well there, Main, just back to the goal square. He could see all the space in front of him. That's where the ball got hooked back to.
Oh, Griffin being tireless worker all around the ground.
Oh, he's been one of the best on the ground.
His 12th disposal coming out. He's helped them dominate the centre stoppages particularly.
If this goes out...
Oh, it's out.
It's on the full. Yeah, I was just going to say, let's see how Griffin goes. There'll come a time in this last quarter where Griffin will run out of steam. Even your aerobic beasts and animals run out of steam in round one after half time. And he's pretty well rucked the lion's share for the day. He is going to be, what did you call it, Joseph, knackered at some stage.
He's got to play smart this last time.
Yeah.
Mix up with Gaff, does Prittis. Kennedy got the early body contact, but Dawson fought back well. Cripps providing it for Waters. He's been redeployed a bit further up the ground. Darling back to Cripps. And the angle was magnificent from there.
Kick a banana.
Pretty good finish.
That silences the crowd.
It's a real good finish. Now you notice Cox on the left-hand side of the screen there once. See Griffin in behind him. He ran the length of the ground there and Griffin couldn't get to him. So as good as Griffin's been, he's just starting to show the signs of fatigue against Coxie.
An amazing finish from Jamie Cripps.
Wonderful.
He had an ability to kick goals at St Kilda in his relatively short time in the game. Some of them were handballs over the top. There was nothing easy about that kick. That was a great goal. Maybe that's something that can be the impetus for West Coast. We've started better out of the middle, that's for sure. Selwood to half forward, shut down by Spur.
That's pretty casual by Hill. Didn't back into Spur all that hard.
Johnson. He also can afford to be casual because there's loose men for Fremantle. Glass beat Bradley to the punch. Embley just got sorted out in the nick of time. Clearing kick to the wing, double fister from Johnson. Fremantle players are quick to move in, but they couldn't get onto the ball. Prittis, he's also worked off it. Johnson, Mzungu. And it's in Freo hands again. Hill to Crowley to Barlow. Time to steady and to ease the kick to the square to Main. Who'll enjoy that?
Well,
to the mark in the defensive goal square a couple of minutes ago.
If we get a look at this, a lot of times we see players get into a goal square and the like. See Will Schofield there on screen? Watch him. Watch him stargaze. Now he stargazes here. He's thinking, I'll hedge my bets. I'll come to him. I'll let him go. I'll get to neither. Go to one. Get to one of them. At least force Barlow to make a decision. I have to hit this lace out.
That's a couple of times today that the Dogs have been able to get players out the back ahead of the footy. And poor old Will Schofield, he was caught between a rock and a hard place.
Barlow with 26 disposals, having set up that last goal. He's leading all comers on the ground. Mundy's had 21 as well. A bit of good combination. Hilda half forward. The Eagles there in numbers.
He's having a mare. Last couple of minutes, Will Schofield, he was cleaned up by his own player.
Yeah, well, they both come up limping too.
Darren Glass, yeah, he's corked himself.
The one man they can rely on this last term, if they're going to win this game, West Coast, is Dean Cox. We've seen him do this down in Tasmania last year when the Kangaroos led them by 6 goals. Must be his time in the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, I agree, Kingy. There's the best part of 16.5 minutes to go, and Griffin's starting to look a little bit weary. And Cox he's a really fit beast. He can get on the bike and get forward. He could do some damage here.
Well, they need everyone, don't they? Because at the moment, Fremantle have got all the answers. Beautiful disposal too from Mundy. Got it to Main. Fife. Time was on his side. Delivers for Walters.
Well, again, on that occasion, you had Fife able to duck ahead of the footy, all on his own.
If Waters didn't pick him up coming on the way through, didn't get over there. He was the loose man in defence there. We got young Smith on the mark. We watch it here. I don't know if the camera angle is going to come out far enough. It's a pre-shot, obviously. Yeah, he didn't get over there and see Fife coming through.
So Michael Walters again for the biggest lead of the game. They stay down, but it is a 25-point margin.
I tell you what's amazing while all that's going on is Dean Cox comes off for a spell, and Jonathan Griffin's still out there.
We've seen
still soldiering away.
He's been able to just stay out there and try and use that period of time when Cox has been off.
Unbelievable effort.
Oh, almost another calamity.
Don't touch it.
Just gets himself out of it, Schofield. Shepherd to fly against Johnson. Prittis.
That's good.
He's worked hard, Prittis. He's tried so hard for his team. 13 contested possessions, 22 disposals.
It's a really good discussion, Kern, because I think the way Ross Lyon drives these players individually is he asks for more all the time. You hear him in the press conferences asking for an abnormal effort from these guys. The normal is okay week to week, but you get normal results. Abnormal and something special might come, and we're seeing that in the ruck today, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And as Jason pointed out, Kingy, he's still out there, Griffin. So, gee, if Cox actually gets a breather and tries to run him dead in the next 12 minutes or so.
Oh, there's a towering mark from Kennedy. They can get into him. He is a dangerous man.
They've got weapons.
Yep.
As he called it, if they can get it in.
We saw Shuey in the lead up to that play. He's only had 8 disposals, so Crowley's been terrific for Fremantle.
There you go, Cox, he's drawn a free kick there. Yep. So he's pushed forward, and Griffin wasn't able to go with him. Griffin's run up the spine of the ground and run to the goal square. Now, if we pull away soon and have a look, Griffin's already in the goal square, and Coxie's got back there ahead of play. Admittedly, he had a couple of minutes breather, and he ran forward with purpose.
McFarlane's just come off the ground from Freo as well. Keep an eye on that, Kenny, as the shot from Cox goes across the face of goal.
Well, Jack Darling yet to hit the scoreboard today. Kicked goals in every game last year.
Mundy and McFarlane both getting some work done, particularly McFarlane. As
he can mark it. He can't kick it. It was the right option. It was just the poor execution. He did have a target in short. He was on the left boot and just didn't hit it right.
Lee Spurs become an important component of their defence as well, and so is this man Clancy Pearce. What a transformation. He's been outstanding in the pre-season again to follow up last year. Delicate touch was delightful from Walters, streaming forward again, and he does the team thing, and I'm sure he would have loved to have pinned the ears back and had a shot for goal. Just popped it over the top.
2 really poor efforts there. First from Embley, he just overcommitted on that mark. He had to, with his experience, recognise that Clancy Pearce was going to mark that. He had to guard the mark rather than go for the ball. Know he was going to miss it and wheel past it. Pearce then runs on another 30 metres. And we've got young Ashley Smith. He's incapable of stopping Walters on that occasion. Just outplayed him.
So Ballantyne Just 4 disposals for the day. No score. It's been a quiet day for Hayden Ballantyne so far. But there's plenty of noise now. Their biggest lead of the day. His first 30 points the margin.
It was beautifully played by Walters there when he took that mark.
Yep.
Found it a tough day, Hayden Ballantyne. Adam Selwood's followed him pretty closely everywhere, but there's Smith got worked under the ball.
Went to the man, didn't watch the flight of the ball.
And that was just an easy chip over the top. I've been amazed at the number of times Fremantle have had more forwards than West Coast defenders back.
I just saw Big Griffin come to the bench for a 5-second rest before Ballantyne took that mark inside the forward 50. They said, look, big fella, you're going to have to go back out there and take the centre bounce. So they've steered him straight back out there, and up he goes. He's done a great job again.
Hey, Kiki, do they ruck him out to the point where they cannot lose this game?
I think he's going to explode. He's absolutely done. He needs to come off and have a rest. But look at him go now. He's charging back into defence, and he'll probably impact this play. Been a great effort.
Yeah.
Cripps didn't panic, but unfortunately the kick not quite he had in mind. That's great follow-up work from Shepherd. The dish was good to Hearn too. Over to Hams, who kicked those early couple of goals.
Good square.
And to Hill, and he takes the back.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of kicks from the pocket that have just been blazed away at goal. That time he had a quick look, player in the corridor, a little chip kick. You turn it into a certain goal, and it would have been a 1 in 100 trying to kick it from where he was.
Josh Hill hasn't scored today. Now he has. It's a goal. They're back to within 4 goals.
Still only had the 5 goal kickers, West Coast, and that's just not a big enough spread, unfortunately. But you could just see Ashton Hams there. He knew that he had Hill in space, just a little chip kick.
See the chip kick, he laid it across the boot. In the air a little bit long. Probably could have just slanted the body inwards and drilled a drop punt at him.
Here we are, the Eagle with 1 solitary goal. Cripps, Hams, the injured Lacroix and Kennedy have 2 each. And for Fremantle, again, lots of multiples of 2 with Pearce, Main, Subin and Walters all with 2. So they're on the march again, the Eagles. Is this the start of something?
I'll tell you what makes the performance even more meritorious for the Dockers is Matty Pavlich has had 13 possessions at an efficiency disposal rate of 38%. He's kicked 3 behinds and doesn't look like having an impact.
Griffin and Cox the target. Walters has got better and better as the game has progressed. Pavlich not paid. He threw it out basically to Walters.
Looked like he marked it.
It did, didn't it, from here? And we actually had a better view than the umpire.
Walters has completely outplayed young Ashley Smith on the last 2 incoming balls. He just took him to the contest, lost him in the contest and traffic, and what I'd call he backdoored him. He just sneaked out the back door and got an easy possession.
He's one of the gentle in the backs going to Gaff. And then off to Embley, couldn't get over the top. Mundy again, forwarding another move forward. Hill, they're bouncing. This man's always bouncy. Ballantyne had Pavlich. I reckon he's got a longer kick. No, he weighted it superbly. He called Main onto it. He just couldn't get there and complete the mark, but he's still in the mix. Fife didn't really expect it, I don't think. Mundy, he found a way. Main. Haphazard ball forward. Pavlich to Walters. They love working in combination. The 1-2 punch does it again.
But we're not here to slap the young kids, but young Ashley Smith is clueless against he might be a great kicker, he might be a good kid, but make him defend against a quality player, clever player. He's lost at the moment. Let's see. Oh, he was following Barlow in on that occasion. He wasn't with him. I just looked up and saw him standing next to him. But, gee, he read that well. Yeah, they've manned him up now. He's taken him away. But
I think it was Bo Waters had the responsibility on that occasion.
Yeah, and he doesn't know but anything but just go to the drop of the footy. But he's getting some education.
So he's getting it on the phone as well at the moment. The margin is 30 points. The crowd almost 40,000. As Crowley in towards Pavlich again. It was one-on-one initially. That was only when Glass came that it turned in the Eagles' fashion. And just a fraction of a fumble. Main goes to ground. Ballantyne, Hill, he's looking for teammates. Pavlich is looking for the boundary.
Bolgers is one of those players. I really think if they pick the All-Australian team by position group, and we spoke about this in the pre-game, as a genuine forward pocket, he could be All-Australian this year.
Well, you know it's going to be a gun midfielder who misses out on one of the 6 berths across the midfield is going to get that forward pocket in All-Australian. But if you, as you say, if you pick it for true forward pocket players, he's as good as they get as a small, agile, trumming, clever forward.
Cox again, hooks it back. Mundy, let's talk about him as well. Back at full fitness. And a really important component of their midfield. Durham.
Hasn't this boy been good too?
Yeah, mature age recruit. Lee Spur. Last year, by the end of last year, he was in the good books with the coach for the hard work and playing the role. That's all they always ask. Back into the middle from Embley. Bit of a roll of the dice. Kennedy. Beat him a couple of times.
Chase that.
And that's what they have to do. Poor old Lycett.
Look at Jack Darling's got some toe.
Beat them all to it. But
Harmsy.
He was in position to do that then, wasn't he?
Kenny couldn't quite make it to the goal square though that time.
Some concern down here, boys, for Hayden Ballantyne. He's been taken straight from the ground. He's got a lower right leg problem. We're not exactly sure what it is, but he's in some real discomfort down here. Substituted immediately.
So Sutcliffe will come on. Good tackle from Fife. Shuey did well to release it. Get it back to Marston to the square.
Sorry to jump in again, Hutto, but there's a bit going on down here. We've got Matthew Pavlich, I think, split the webbing in his right hand. He's getting some attention as well. So the casualty ward up and running down here today.
So for all those horrendous injuries you can get in football, I always thought the worst looking was probably the least harmful. Split webbing. It's just a horrible looking injury. You've had a Pig?
4 of them.
Should try and take them more cleanly.
We're going to get the free here, Schofield.
For a block. Fine line sometimes between a block and an indiscriminate leap from the person coming from behind.
From someone just trying to hold their ground where they think the ball's going to drop, I suppose. Waters, top of the square. Again, anyone's guess. Fremantle gets the right number with the fist away from Dawson. Couldn't have kicked it much higher.
Yeah, we talk about the loss of Nick Natanui, the impact he has for West Coast is a twofold thing. It's his ability on ball and the ability to allow Dean Cox to go forward, because Scott Lycett, who's learning the trade, competitive in the ruck, just doesn't look like he's going to grab one as a forward.
And Kingy, they're going to put Pav back out there with that split webbing. They're taping it all together.
They are. You always get a good indication of the salary cap, because Hayden Ballantyne's come off. He's sitting by himself, but Pav's got 7 people working on him at the moment. So I think they've just worked out the order of importance.
I think it's 8 actually, Kingy.
It is a concern, but he'll be fine. He'll be back out in a moment, surely.
Stitches coming after the game.
Scott Sell, that's what's ahead of him. Kick's got to go about 40 metres. And that's twice he's done that today.
Down to 59% for their kicking efficiency, the Eagles.
Yeah, and if they're not careful and they keep wasting some of these opportunities, they'll find themselves getting beaten by 40 or 50 points.
Put himself under probably unnecessary pressure there, Johnson, by playing on and going for the short pass.
Can you believe, Hutto, the change in Fremantle, just given that Daniel Pearce is really the only notable in? They look a far quicker side across the ground today than I reckon I've seen in the last 12 months.
That carry in the third quarter that Pearce gave them, 11 possessions, and that freed up Hill as well. I mean, Hill probably got more of that type of carry at the start of that quarter to set the rot into West Coast Eagles.
Brutus, so he played on. He must have thought he wasn't close enough to go. It's all going to end well for him, because Marston can pop it through and cut the margin back to 22.
This is quite a long. It feels like quite a long junk time. But you know how quickly we can score in these days.
Yeah, another goal here next for West Coast.
Yeah,
just throw a lump in the throat of a few Freo fans.
Well, one more quick goal, and they still have potency up forward. They still got Kennedy, and he can take a grab against the All-Australian centre half back in Luke McFarlane.
Pavlich returns. That goal from West Coast takes them back to 22. 7 minutes remaining. And Griffin's gone to the bench.
So my eyes fail him here as Darren Glass gone forward. He's now running around in the forward pocket. Zach Dawson's picked him up. He's also hobbling a bit. I think he copped a knock.
That was the one he went with Will Schofield, that contest on the half-back flank, and they both got up gingerly.
So he's lobbed forward because they've already lost Lacroix. They've got Mackenzie on the bench who hasn't come back on since what appeared to be a hamstring strain. So they've got some injury problems themselves, West Coast.
And that's got Schofield now on Pav, which he's had him for before he went off as well.
There's a free kick plucked out of that for Shannon Hernandez. The wounded Darren Glass.
He's hobbling around, but you know what? He's a good enough player, he'll get on the end of one.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about the kick.
I was about to say that. If he has a set shot, unless he's in the goal square, he's only a 50-50.
He'll get this.
On the chest, lace out.
It's a long lead he was on, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's leading to the bench. He's going to get 2 possessions here.
He was just going straight through them regardless.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of science in that ball.
Waters or Selwood got crunched high.
I'll tell you the other discussion this raises or brings to the fore is the Aaron Sandilands discussion, because I think they're nearly going past him now because he's in for a few weeks. He's been injured the last couple of years. You nearly need to start planning with Jonathan Griffin from here forth.
I'll tell you what, if he's going to put in performances like this, you can plan around him. Jonathan Griffin.
He did get crunched, Selwood, actually.
Well, they might get another goal here, West Coast. So while it seems like the sting might have gone out of the game, there is plenty of time for West Coast if Hill can kick accurately here.
Now, Selwood really did that. That's exactly, forget all the hoopla, whatever. Selwood really ducked into that, put his body down in danger's way, and got clobbered.
And Hill goes back and calmly slots it through, and all of a sudden there's only 16 points the difference.
Crowley comes on.
All of a sudden it's inside of 3 kicks. 3 straight kicks. They can get back in front here. Now, it hasn't been easy. They haven't had a real fluent path to goals in the second half in particular, but just a little bit of tiredness, I think, creeping in. Well, it's been a monumental effort by the Dockers.
Griffin he's been given 60 seconds off. Said you got to get out there again, John.
Shuey, Priddis, Selwood, Waters in the back line, but those other 3 have started to get the ball in the midfield over the last 7 or 8 minutes.
Well, the clearance has turned around, hasn't it, too? 13-4 for the Eagles in this quarter. High contact. It'll go Freo's way. So certainly can't afford to concede a goal here, West Coast. Mundy's been outstanding. Watch from his rear view there. Pavlich couldn't quite. Barlow.
That would have taken the wind out of the Eagles' sails there.
Scoring opportunities come so easily when they go forward, the Dockers.
And what a contrast that was to early in the match.
Oh, big barrel down the middle and got hold of it.
And we love it.
It's going over.
Almost.
That's a cracker.
And it gets to Josh Hill.
Put your nose over it.
Keep your feet.
And that's where it ends.
Too easy.
Nice kick from Spur 2 to Bradley. He's got Pavlich. He can go longer to Walters. Oh, they're not sure that was the right option. Main did well not to, and the board did well not to give away the free kick.
It's been exciting watching the big barrels from kick-outs, though, hasn't it?
That could be holding the ball. Bradley bundles it back to Johnson. Next in line was Clancy Pearce. A fumble was crucial. Bradley, the Eagles are gathering a bit here. They get it cleanly through Selwood. Plenty of protection back. And McFarlane with all that experience and guile.
Disappointing with Josh Hill there. He had the run on that footy, and you could just sense he wasn't going to hover over it and accept that he had to spend a little bit more time over it.
That wouldn't hurt the Dockers just to hold it up a little bit and chip it around.
I think they were going to, but Sutcliffe found himself well in the clear. And he kicks it out wide to the factor. Kepler Bradley takes the mark from too far out to score. We'll let them all have a good run at that. Pavlich again missed time the lead. And the ball not doing what Waters was hoping it might. It gave everyone a bit of an opportunity to come in. Hearn's gone to ground too. Had to scoop it out. Still danger. De Boer. Mzungu's got Pearce behind him. No one can grab it cleanly. He was tackled without it there, Waters. Embley forced to try and keep it in. Good protection from Johnson, and that allowed Spur to take the mark, unencumbered. And he decides to roll it into the middle.
Good kick of the ball, isn't he?
Okay. Duffield.
This break will go off. Forward pocket. He's going to take a long point.
They need a big grab from Pav. And it's out of bounds. It's a good result for them.
Yeah, Walters had sneaked off into the other opposite forward pocket.
Darren Glass coming off, and he can barely get out of a limp.
Now the walking wound at the moment, the West Coast Eagles. Bradley gets it down. Selwood. De Boer. Did well not to give away a free kick that time, West Coast. They forced it about 30 or 40 metres. Mzungu, Subin, not too high. Well done, Adam Selwood. Just thrust and parry. Pearce and Hill. What a wicked combination they are. Kepler Bradley. They all rise for Kepler. Oh, he's put it through.
They're home.
When Kepler's kicking goals like that, they can't lose.
Oh, what a clever kick coming. Just a little underneath pass here. Let's have another look at it there. Hill just knows that if he goes in the air, he gets smothered. And the degree of difficulty for Kepler. No one near him, and he still fell over.
He's a one-man entertainment show, Kepler Bradley. Second goal.
He tackled himself when he kicked it. He went to ground.
And that will just about do it for Fremantle. 23 points is their advantage right now, and we're down to the last 2 minutes and 10. The Eagles will fight it out. Fremantle with a devastating second half.
Great effort, Griffin.
Still in there, Griffin, isn't he? Doing everything.
Do you give him the win against Cox, or do you say it's an honourable break-even that's helped the team?
For me, it's a win.
Yep.
So I think he's negated anything that Cox would normally do in the game anyway.
And just the decisive nature of those centre clearances, particularly.
Dominant.
Crowley. Selwood. And he won't let him go, Main. Minute 45 remaining. Not much to report out of all that.
Blow the whistle, please.
And Queen Sutcliffe getting a run. Like the old days of the reserves, isn't it? Get a run with about 6 minutes to go. Subin kicked a couple of nice goals earlier, and there's another one he's racked up.
When you talk about tired players, he just strolled away from a stoppage there. I think everyone had stopped to a walk. He was the one that followed the ball, got the bounce, and just absolutely waltzed away from any would-be chase. I don't think anyone's even thinking about chase. He just waltzes away there. Kicks it easy as you like.
He'll be delighted with his return to form after a really big pre-season. Nick Sermon lost some weight, got really fit, kicked 3 goals today. John Worsfold, it's a bit of gloom for him, knowing that particularly he's lost Lacroix. They've come into the game obviously without some of their stars. Nick Vananui being the #1 man, along with Kerr and the recruit Wellingham, Rosa. So they'll get some back over the next few weeks.
It's a first for Nick Subin too, kicking 3 goals in a match.
He's a good user of the footy.
Sutcliffe holding the ball.
Just while we get this spare moment as Embley lines up. The reason I ask that is because we probably mark Cox so hard because he's so good. Yeah. He's had a couple more possessions. He's had 16 more hit-outs. He's had 1 more in every department except for hit-outs, where he's 36 to 20. But because he hasn't been dominant, do we give Griffin the win?
Well, when you look at the way Fremantle controlled the centre clearances through the second and third quarters, and the fact that he virtually did it one out against Lysette and Cox with just a couple of little breaks from Kepler Bradley, I think it's been a stunning performance from Jonathan Griffin.
The West Coast won their clearances mainly around the ground. And there's Cox. You know that he'll keep going. Back into the middle, Waters tries to pinpoint downfield. Another job for him, for Andrew Embley.
Just had a shot from there, Andrew Embley, so he's had a sighter, and he's probably a metre or two closer.
That really matters. Sometimes after you miss from a spot, you say to yourself,
handball to Shannon Hearn.
I don't want another go at it.
He was going for 9.
Now, that is ridiculous, because Shannon Hearn is sprinting to get the hand pass, but he's going around onto his left. He's got a bloke on his hammer. Embley gives him the hand pass, but then can't affect the shepherd, and he kicks it out in the full. Yeah, good play.
It's good to see you haven't lost your sarcasm, Jason.
Jonathan Griffin might have the ball in his hand when the siren sounds for Derby 37.
Well played.
Jubilation around Patterson Stadium. It's Fremantle's win, and boy did they do it in style in the second half. Totally dominating West Coast. They had to do it the hard way, coming from behind. And this Fremantle strong crowd will enjoy this. They've got bragging rights in the West. $16 goals, 12, 108 to 11, 14, 80.
11 goals to 5 in the second half, 35 inside 50s to 19 in the second half, 19 shots to 12 in that second half, and they outstripped the West Coast Eagles for possessions as well, 166 to 144 in that second half. They were fantastic, led through the middle. Hill, Pearce, Griffin gave them a real opportunity in there. A stunning second half.
Brilliant performance by the Dockers. Is going to be... Well, we'll go down to David King first and foremost. I think he's got the young man that we've all spoken highly about tonight, Kingy.